Welcome back to Decked Out.
On today's episode, we're joined by Joe Cherries and Zbexx for a very special patron-sponsored episode. One of our patrons, Baker, submitted a list for us to play here on the show, and it's going to be piloted by Zbexx with a very special cosplay.
We'd also like to thank our sponsors Coolstuffinc, Moxfield, and Ultimate Guard, but more on them later in the video.
That's enough from us. Let's go ahead and meet the players.
Hi, I'm Thalia, and this is my friend Baby Gitrog. I'm Zbexx, a professional cosplayer and trading card game personality. Today, I'm going to be playing a bunch of planeswalkers that make tokens so I can feed my frog. And thanks so much to Baker for submitting this Patron deck. I love Thalia and appreciate that you made a deck that suits my favorite card.
Hey everyone, I'm Joe Cherries, currently streaming at Joe Cherries, so go check me out on Twitch. And today I'm playing Gargoyle and Multani. This deck is super exciting. It is a vanilla 18/6. Literally does nothing else. But for 6 mana, you get all that power, and that's what this whole deck is built around. We're gonna make it as big as possible and try and one-shot players out of the game.
Hello everybody, I'm MTGNerdGirl, and today I brought Jeru and Hazoret to the table. My deck is full of things that care about legendary creatures, and it's full of Haymaker legendary creatures like Drakuseth and Ilharg. So we're gonna close these games out real fast.
I'm Airball, and I'm playing Saint Traft and Rem Carolus for my commander. And there's a mountain of text on this card, but the important thing is when they tap, they make a token. And when you convoke with those tokens, you untap. And then you can use him to convoke. So then you make more tokens. And that's pretty much the strategy. We're gonna go real wide, real big, and run over the table. And the mic stand.
Before we get into the gameplay, we'd like to take a minute to thank our patrons. Without your support, this show wouldn't be possible.
Seriously, thank you to all of you who have already contributed to the Patreon. You are a big part of why we're able to continue making this show, and we've got big plans and we need your help to do it. We want to get a bigger space, we want to record more frequently, and more importantly, we want to make sure that we can keep the lights on and bring the show to you twice a month.
Shit, I think I forgot to pay the bill. So if you would like to help us keep the lights on, please head on over to our Patreon, unlock those exclusive perks, sign tokens, spell table games with us, and even get your own deck list like Baker for us to play here on the show.
That's all for now. I'm going to go fire Veggie, and we're going to get back to the game.
Welcome to the table. Let's see who goes first. 8.
13.
7.
6.
Oh,
right.
13 sounds highest out of those single digits. All right, let's go. I'll start off with a beautiful forest, and I will pass the turn.
Draw, and I'll play this Rogran Triumph tapped.
Minas Tirith tapped. It's a land that taps for white. I can pay to tap it and draw a card if I've attacked with 2 or more creatures. I'll pass.
All right, draw for turn, play a swamp, and pass.
Ooh, that's a spicy one. I am going to play a swamp, and I don't think I have any plays, so I'm going to pass.
Okay, very spicy.
I drew a spicy card.
I'll play this Plains for turn and I'll pass.
Wow, this is a very friendly, slow game of Magic.
I like it.
Yeah, I was just going to say no mana rocks yet.
I'm just going to play this tap Sacred Foundry and pass.
Wow. Can we go 2 turns without anything?
No, diamonds are a girl's best friend. I'm going to play an isolated chapel, which will enter untapped, and tap 2 for an arcane signet. Pass turn.
Swamp. Tap 3 and cast Kodama's Reach, which lets me get 2 basics, 1 to the battlefield tapped and 1 to my hand.
Ramp and going first? Boo.
All right, I got 2 forests, 1 to the battlefield, 1 to my hand, and I will pass.
All right, but before I untap, I am going to cast Ardenvale Fealty.
Ooh.
We're going to make a 2/2 Knight token. Now the backside, I'm really hoping we get to see in play, but we'll get to that when it
You
happens.
definitely won't get to see the backside because that only has a front.
Where do you think this knight's going to go, Joe?
I already know.
All right, I'm going to play this Mountain for turn, and it's time for the commander, Saint Traft and Rem Carolus. When he becomes tapped, I make a 1/1 red human token if it's the first time he was tapped this turn. If it's the second time he was tapped this turn, I make a 1/1 blue spirit, and if he's tapped for the third time in a turn, I make a 4/4 white angel token. How are we going to tap him so many times? Well, every time you cast a spell with Convoke, you untap him. And we'll probably tap him during combat later, too.
Gross.
Speaking of combat, Joe,
Oh,
this Vigilant Knight is coming at you.
Well, randomly selected that. What can I do?
Yeah, and I'll pass.
I'm going to play a Shinka Blood-Soaked Keep. It allows me to give creatures first strike. And for turn, we're going to play Layla the Blade Reforged. It's a 2/2 with haste that says whenever it attacks, I exile the top card of my library. I may play it that turn. Whenever I exile one or more cards from my library and or graveyard, I can put a +1/+1 counter on her. And I'm not going to leave this on the table. Zbexx, this one is for you. I will exile the top card. It will stay exiled because I can't cast it.
Does the counter happen after damage or before?
It's whenever I exile, so it happens on the attack
So
trigger.
I'm going to take 3.
Correct.
Okay, great.
And then I will pass the turn.
We're going to get Deathcap Glade into play, tapping 4 to play Thalia and the Gitrog monster.
You're going to be reading this one for the next 3 days.
No,
It has so much text.
look at how much text is on yours.
That's all flavor text.
Oh.
It does say that on there.
Good thing my cards actually do something. All right, so Thalia and the Gitrog monster. It's a 4/4 first strike death touch. I may play an additional land on each of my turns. Creatures and non-basic lands my opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. And whenever Thalia and the Gitrog monster attacks, sacrifice a creature or land, then draw a card. Nice. So yeah, what does yours do again? Oh, it's not even in play. I'll keep
I'll
going.
read it when we get there.
Exactly. So I love this exploration ability. So we're going to put Vault of Champions into play as my additional land for a turn, and I'll pass.
Untap. Was it? Did you said your commander did?
Everything.
You may read the card.
No. I mean, you said it did something. It doesn't do anything now. Oh. I will draw a card. It's early, but there's already a ton of targets for this Canless transformation. And the reason I'm using it on Thalia and the Gitrog monster is that I've played the deck. I've seen the deck, and that commander is nothing to joke about. It might not look that strong, but honestly, it is so good. And then I'm just going to pass. This is a slow hand here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I am suspicious.
What are you suspicious of?
You.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
All right. I'm going to play this Kabira takedown on the backside.
Oh, that one does have a backside, actually. That's true.
It has a great backside. The backside taps for white. It's not actually all that great.
Well, it's what makes that card playable, because it would not be a playable
Check
commander
out
card without that side.
This backs.
we're using that.
but don't cut to her camera. Just keep the audio. That's it. Because it's funny, I'm going to send another Vigilant Knight at Joe, and I'm also going to send my commander over at NerdGirl, and that's going to trigger the commander, and we are going to make a 1/1 human, and we'll pass the turn.
I am concerned. All right, Airball, you're the problem. This now going to be 4 damage is coming to you. I'm going to trigger Laelia and exile the top card of my library. I can play it this turn, but I can't because it costs 6.
I won't block anything. I will take 4 commander damage.
I'm sorry, Atali. You're gone forever.
Thank goodness.
Land for turn is going to be a Rogue's Passage. And I'm going to go ahead and just tap 3. And I'm going to play Gimli of the Glimmering Caves. It's a 1/1 with double strike. It says whenever a legendary creature enters the battlefield under my control, I can put a +1/+1 counter on him. And whenever he deals combat damage to a player, I get to create a treasure token. And then that'll be it for me. I'll pass. Bye, Tolly. I love you.
One of my favorite cards of all time, Atali.
I would very much like to be able to use Thalia and the Gitrog as intended, not as an elk. I didn't bring my elk ears today, and I like to cosplay, so we're not doing it, okay?
All right, jeez.
Oath of Ajani is a legendary enchantment, and when it enters the battlefield, I get to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature I control.
You really made it seem like you were going to destroy the elk thing, not just put a counter on your commander.
I think we're getting to that part.
Well, since you so kindly would like to know how it's going to happen, I'm going to cast Assassin's Trophy, targeting Kenrith's transformation, destroy target permanent an opponent controls. Its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, and shuffle.
Is that a 3-for-1 in my favor? I think it is, because I get a land. I drew a card. No, it's a 2-for-1. 2-for-1 in my favor. Do a land, got a card.
Sounds like somebody would like to be attacked.
Yeah. If you think I'll stop sassing you
Is
because
that a 3-for-1? I think you're right. It
I think
is.
it was a 3-for-1, yeah.
That's just card advantage.
I take my card advantage.
I'm going to attack Joe for 5.
Oh, I'm doing it. I have to be, if I'm not, well, you have a trigger first. Before I even respond, you have a trigger.
Yes. So when it attacks, I can sacrifice a creature or a land and then draw a card. So I will do just that.
All right. I liked your answer so much. I would like to Assassin's Trophy your commander now in return.
That's like a 3-for-1 in her favor.
It's a 2-for-1 in her favor. 2-for-1.
I happened to not have enough green mana because I have a double green mana card in my hand. So this actually is a 3-for-1.
It's a 2-for-1.
This is why you take the damage and you do it on end step. It's like just, Magic 101, Joe.
No, I'm not taking the damage. I'm spiteful and angry.
Gitrog. For 2, I'm going to play Wrenn and Realm Breaker, which cost 1 less from Oath of Ajani. Lands I control have tap to add 1 mana of any color, so I will no longer have that problem as long as I control this Planeswalker. The uptick can make a land a creature. The downtick can mill 3 cards and put a permanent into my hand from the milled cards. And the ultimate, I get an emblem that I can play lands and cast permanent spells from my graveyard. Well, I've already attacked. There's a lot of creatures that could attack it. I don't have anything to defend it right now. So we will uptick to 5, and I would like a 3/3 elemental creature into play.
I thought it was making a land. Isn't that what you
It
said?
makes a land.
I will make a land, a 3/3 elemental. I wouldn't have been able to do that before combat because I didn't have the mana. But now I have a defender for my Planeswalker, and I'm feeling good. Pass the turn.
All right, let's go with a shocker. 6 mana for Yargle and Multani. 6 mana, 18/6. Yep.
It has giant growth. You're dead. That's the ability.
Yeah, it does. Literally, 1 giant growth will make this lethal.
There's no trample.
On your end step, I am going to pay 3 total for Secure the Wastes, and I'm going to make 2 1/1 white warrior creature tokens.
In response to that, I'm going to go ahead and cast Swords to Plowshares on your commander, because I think this is the turn where you start to get a little crazy. So we're going to exile that, and you can gain life equal to its power.
I was supposed to be so happy I was going to gain 18 life.
That Swords was very well placed. If I got to untap with Virtue of Loyalty and my commander, I was going to be able to do a bunch of Convoke stuff on my turn, untap everything on my end step, make more tokens with my commander, and then do Convoke stuff on my opponent's turns and do it all over again. Now we have to rebuild a little bit. I will gain power, right? 3?
Yep.
He's going to go to the command zone. All right, I'm just going to play this Castle Ardenvale. It has a relevant ability, pay 4 and a tap to create a 1/1 white human creature token. Don't think I can take the shields down because NerdGirl has already said that I'm the problem, so I think
You're
I need
no
to...
longer the problem.
Oh, okay. Does that mean that I won't get attacked on your next turn if I swing out at Wrenn?
Correct.
Great. I'm going to swing out at Wrenn.
I just didn't want you comboing, convoking off. I don't really care about those little idiots.
The whole team coming at Wrenn and Realmbreaker.
I will block the 2/2,
The Knight. Okay. Knight's
and
dead.
Wrenn will go down to 2 loyalty.
All right. And then post-combat, we're going to pay 5, and we're going to see the backside of Virtue of Loyalty. The beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control and untap them.
The card is very strong.
Okay,
So I'll
well,
try to go to my
maybe
end
you are a
step.
problem. Never mind. No, just kidding.
I'm going to go to my end step. We're going to untap the team and put a +1/+1 counter on everything.
That's obnoxious.
That is a very good card for that deck. Not one I would have thought of.
Joe, can I hit you for 2?
As long as we're friends, yeah, sure.
I just want to make treasures.
I'm down for being friends.
So we're going to go ahead, and Lelia is going to come towards Wrenn for a total of 5 damage. We'll get a counter, and she will trigger, and then I'm going to attack Joe with Gimli in an attempt to get some treasures. I'm going to exile Lelia's card, and we're going to get an Ilharg, the Raise Boar.
I will let Wrenn and Realmbreaker go away.
And Joe will take 2 damage. I'll make 1 treasure for the first strike and a 2nd treasure for the normal combat. My land for turn will be a Clifftop Retreat. I do indeed have a mountain. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead. It wasn't my plan, but I will, in fact, play the Ilharg the Raised Boar, 6/6 for 5 with trample. Whenever it attacks, I may put a creature from my hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. Return that creature to my hand at the beginning of the next end step. When it dies or is put into exile from the battlefield, I may put it into the owner's library, third from the top. And also I played a legendary creature, so I'm gonna go ahead and put a counter onto Gimli as that'll be it for me. Zbexx, your go. I'm sorry.
It's just a baby boar.
That is a big baby boar.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say it was a small baby boar.
I'm gonna play Urza Assembles the Titans. It's a saga, and the first chapter reads, Scry 4, then I may reveal the top card of my library. If it's a Planeswalker card revealed this way, put it into my hand.
Nice.
Chapter 2 allows me to put a Planeswalker card with mana value 6 or less from my hand onto the battlefield. Chapter 3 lets me activate the loyalty abilities of Planeswalkers I control twice this turn, rather than only once.
So next turn, something from NerdGirl's hand's going into play for free, and something from Zbexx's hand is going into play for free.
I'm gonna scry 3 of these cards to the bottom, and then I will reveal Garruk Wildspeaker and put him into my hand. He will only cost 3. I don't quite have enough mana available yet this turn, so I will pass.
Are you just wide open over there for a big hit from Yargle and Multani?
If you want to do that, you're more than welcome to.
All right, I'm going to go to combat. I think I am going to send 18 over at Zbexx.
I will take 18 commander damage.
I have no pumps, so you are going to live.
Ouch.
We're going to follow it up with a powerful play. Black, black, green, green for Jared. Golgari Lich Lord. It's a 2/2 legendary zombie elf. It has +1/+1 for each creature in my graveyard, currently 0. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for the 1 black, green. Sacrifice another creature. Each opponent loses life equal to the sacrificed creature's power. Sacrifice a swamp and a forest. Return Jared from your graveyard to your hand. So we have an 18 drain on the battlefield right now that I could do at any time to each of my opponents. But I can hold that up, so I'm going to pass.
Oh no, with that attack from Yargle and Multani, and now Jared hitting the battlefield, we could be dead immediately.
This game's getting good.
I have deep concerns about what Joe's capable of. I'm gonna try to go to combat, and we're gonna swing the team
At me.
at Joe.
Yeah, I do have no creature in my graveyard. Sure, Jared is just a 2/2. That'd be a terrible block. I will take this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay. I think it's time for my commander to hit the battlefield once again, and I'll try to move to my end step. The team untaps and a +1/+1 counter on everything.
I think I am more scared of Airball.
I agree.
Excuse me? We have a free Planeswalker coming. We have Dome everyone in the face for 18.
I'm at 37. That's not 18.
Uh-huh.
And also, I think if Joe doesn't have an answer for a thing, that will not matter.
Wow.
So we're gonna go ahead and go to combat. The Ilharg and the Lelia is for Airball, and Gimli, the double striker, is going to be for Joe. And my Ilharg trigger, I'll get to put a creature in tapped and attacking. And we're gonna go ahead and put in an Elishnorn Grand Cenobite.
Oh, no.
Tapped and attacking Airball. This gives all creatures -2/-2 that I don't control, and my creatures will get +2/+2. It will return back to my hand at the end of the turn.
That is devastating. Because that is entering and it is static, I cannot respond. Because I did not know Elishnorn was coming, and I did not respond in response. So, this is very dead. And I do not get to sacrifice it.
That's nasty.
Thank you.
That was nasty. I did not see that coming.
I told you I wasn't worried about it.
Luckily, my stuff doesn't die. It just gets shrunk.
I will also get a trigger here on the Lelia. She'll go up to 4, and I get to exile the top card of my library. It is a Rising of the Day. And when Elishnorn comes into play, Gimli's also going to go up to 2 counters.
I think I am going to take 8, is it? Because of the Elishnorn buff here?
No, you're not. We're going to make sure that this never happens again, at least until you have enough mana to play Elesh Norn.
This turn, later.
This turn, yeah, but it'll bounce during the end step. So we have an orbit.
We have a turn.
We have an orbit to think about it. So I am going to pay 3 to convoke Cut Short.
Ooh.
Destroy target planeswalker that was activated this turn or tapped creature, and we're going to target the boar. Saint Trapped is going to trigger, and a token will enter play and immediately die to Elesh Norn.
All right, Ilharg says whenever it dies or is exiled from the battlefield, I may put it in my library 3rd from the top. So we will just stick this little friendly boar here. Boop.
And I know that Elesh Norn's going to come back soon, so I don't want any of my big stuff to die, because otherwise all my little stuff will die. So no blocks here.
So Airball will take 12, and Joe, you are going to take 3 twice for 6 total.
No, I'm going to take 10.
Oh,
because
10.
It is pumped.
Because of the Elesh Norn pump. Yeah. I will get 2 treasures from the Gimli, so we're going to go up to 4 treasures. And I think it's time to cast some stuff. My first play will be the Rise of the Day that was in the exile from the Laelia. My creatures are now going to have haste, and my legendary creatures are going to get +1/+0. And my next play will be a Delina Wild Mage, a 3/2 that allows me to roll a d20 anytime she attacks. If it's a 1 to a 14, I can copy 1 creature that will come into play tapped and attacking, sacrifice it at the end of combat. If it's a 15 or 20, I get to do that, but also roll again. And now that Delina has entered the battlefield, Gimli will get an additional counter. And then I'll move to my end step, and Elesh Norn will go to my hand and pass the turn. My board state looks a little weak now that Ilharg is gone and Elesh Norn has returned to my hand. But now that I have Rising of the Day on the board, we'll be able to make some big swings each turn, even if they kill my creatures.
Everything has haste. So even if we wipe this board, which I don't really want to do, but even if we wipe this board, there is a hasty Elesh Norn that gets +1/+0 for some reason coming down the following turn.
To recap, I'm going to be putting a Planeswalker into play for free this turn is what really matters. I will get a Saga counter going to Chapter 2. I may put a Planeswalker card with mana value 6 or less from my hand onto the battlefield. Enter Garruk Wildspeaker.
Da-da-da.
My buddy has 3 loyalty, can tick up 1 to untap 2 target lands, can tick down 1 to put a 3/3 green beast creature token onto the battlefield, and his ultimate is -4. Creatures you control get +3/+3 and gain trample until the end of turn.
I'm pretty sure that Garruk isn't friends with Thalia. The only time that Garruk has been in Innistrad, he was cursed in a menace. He was murdering planeswalkers.
How do you know that they didn't have a secret rendezvous outside the back chapel in the woods?
While he was cursed and murdering planeswalkers?
We're getting into some magic fan fiction all of a sudden.
Yeah, I'm here
The
for
magic
it.
fan fiction.
I mean, Thalia is getting around with Quintorius. So I'm going to tap 6 and play Vorinclex, Monstrous Raider. He's a 6/6 trample haste. If you would put 1 or more counters onto a permanent or player, put twice that many of each of those kinds of counters on that permanent or player instead. And also, if an opponent would put 1 or more counters on a permanent or a player, they put half of that many of each of those kinds of counters on that permanent or player instead, rounded down.
Which is my whole thing.
Yeah.
And I will uptick Garruk, which will add an additional counter, twice that many. So he's at 5 loyalty to untap these 2 lands. And with this, I will play Esper Sentinel. Whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, I get to draw a card unless that player pays X, where X is Esper Sentinel's power. I only have 1 card left in my hand, so I need this. Don't touch my little Sentinel, dude, please. Baby Gitrog asks nicely. I have nothing that can attack or do anything else fancy, so I'll pass the turn.
All right, let's swing for the fences.
Let's go.
With an overwhelming stampede. Until end of turn, creatures you control gain trample and get +X/+X, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. That would be 18. So, if this resolves, which I think it does, we're going to have a huge monster with 36 power. Meaning I can knock out anyone on the table right now. And I think my choice is going to be to go for Nerd Girl. with this 36 big butt.
Well, I wasn't expecting a pump plus the trample, so my blocker will be irrelevant, and unfortunately, I will just die to commander damage. All of it. Life total to 0. Good luck, team. Leaving myself with only one blocker was risky. Left me dead to removal and a few other things, but I was never going to be able to block 30 some odd 40 damage worth of trample commander damage anyway. So I don't think I was avoiding that. Well played, Yargle.
All right, I have no idea if I have done the math on this turn completely right, but we're just going to go ahead because it's going to be bonkers anyway. We're going to shock in this Hollowed Fountain and take 2. We're going to pay 4 for this Whirlwind of Thought. So whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you draw a card.
Would you like to pay for that?
God, I mathed it out without thinking about S%.
Yeah, so then you don't have to worry about figuring out the math because you already said it was going to be tight.
It's just going to be tight.
Gitrog wants to draw a card. Gitrog wants to draw a card.
Oh, that's so mean after the Gitrog dance. Oh.
It's okay, buddy. Someday we'll get a card.
Pay 4 Convoking mana to bring out Benny Brack's Zoologist. He is a 3/2 with Convoke, of course. At the beginning of each end step, if I made a token this turn, I get to draw a card.
All right.
Now,
some triggers here.
Yeah, so Saint whatever is going to trigger, and we're going to make another human. So now, because I cast a Convoke spell, which is Benny Brack's, the commander's going to untap, and we're going to pay 2 more to cast 2 Arms. Untap all creatures I control, and I get to draw a card. And that's going to trigger a Whirlwind of Thought, so I'm also going to draw another card for that. And then we're going to tap 6 Convoke mana to cast Wildfire Awakener with X equals 3. It's a 3/2 with Convoke, of course, and when it enters the battlefield, make X 1/1 red elemental creature tokens whenever it becomes tapped, it deals 1 damage to a player.
Oh, no. Ooh.
Yep.
So that's going to be 3.
Bad.
So Saint Traft has tapped twice this turn, so now we're going to get a Spirit, and because I cast the Convoke creature, he will untap himself. And now we're going to go to combat, and I'm going to swing 4 Commander at Joe, because I guess.
Yeah, that's fair. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, and because he's tapping for the 3rd time, we're going to put an Angel into play. This one's a 4/4. And now I'm going to move to my end step, and Virtue of Loyalty is going to untap everything. It would put a counter on everything as well, but Vorinclex is in play. And Benny Brack's, I think I have made a token this turn, so I will draw my card for that.
Frog teammates, let's go. Let's get 'em.
Frog teammates!
And I'll pass to Zbexx.
I'm going to have Urza is going to get twice as many counters, so the 3rd chapter will trigger. There is no 4th chapter, but I will get to activate loyalty abilities of planeswalkers I control twice this turn rather than only once. Woo! We need to play Archangel Elspeth. Yeah, she will enter with 8 loyalty counters. She can tick up to make a 1/1 white soldier with lifelink. She can tick down 2 to put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. It becomes an angel and gains flying. She can ultimate for 6 to return all non-land permanent cards with mana value 3 or less from my graveyard to the battlefield.
Oh, God.
And
So she could just ultimate right now?
She sure can.
She could, but that would only be bringing back Ren and Realmbreaker. So I'm going to uptick Garruk, which adding 1 will add twice that many to 7, which will untap 2 lands. Then I'm going to remove 2 loyalty counters from Archangel Elspeth to put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. It becomes an angel in addition to its other types and gains flying. I will put 2 counters on Vorinclex, which is 4. I'm going to activate Archangel Elspeth with the +1, putting her back up to 8 to create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. And I'm going to ultimate Garruk. Creatures I control get +3/+3 and trample until end of turn. I'm not too concerned about my little 1/1s that are becoming 4/4s, but more importantly, my flying Praetor. I'm going to combat. I'm attacking Airball for 13/13 with trample flying. And it's an angel.
Okay. I think I'm just worried about my life total at this point. I'm going to throw the 2 flying blockers in the way and soak 5 of the damage.
Okay, I will trample over for 8. And just to make the most of my mana in case I draw something cool next turn, I'll play this Chromatic Lantern and pass.
All right, let's see what I draw, because this turn, this is about to get interesting. Play this Essence Harvest, which I will pay the 1 for. And then target player loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. That's 18.
Wow.
So I will target Airball with that to drain him for 18.
Yeah, okay.
And then to follow it up, I do have a decent play. I have Fungal Sprouting, which will make X11 saplings equal to the number, the greatest power among creatures you control, which is 18. So I'll get 18 1/1s.
Whoa, that's a lot of tokens. And my big creatures like Vorinclex can live through Elish Norn. I kind of want NerdGirl back. That's pretty wide. That is a little bit problematic.
I'm hoping it's enough.
More than I had.
This is good. This is going to be close. A true battle between friends going down to the bitter end.
Froggy friends going at it.
The nut card off the top deck. I'm going to cast Winds of Abandon Overloaded.
This is absolutely hilarious. I mean, that resolves, and I have 19 total creatures.
So what that does to those 19 creatures is it exiles each creature I don't control. For each creature exiled this way, its controller searches their library for a basic land card. Those cards enter the battlefield tapped, then they shuffle their library. So you're getting 18 basic lands into play.
There's not that many of them.
All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's only 13 left in my entire deck. I will get those 13 and put them onto the battlefield tapped.
I have cut this for you.
And this deck has been cut for the top deck of the century.
I'm going to tick Elspeth down to 6 to put 2 counters on Vorinclex, which will be 4, and get extra flying. And now I will move to combat. And I'm going to attack with everything. I don't know what haste stuff Black Green has. I feel confident about swinging out with a 14/14 flying, trample, haste, and 2 1/1s.
Okay, 14/14. So I'm taking 16.
Yep. And then you get a chance to do something and crack back and kill me. And my soldier from Elspeth has lifelink, so I will go to 20.
Are we ready?
Yes.
All right, we have a top deck coming. Let's see what we can do. If it's a land, I'm gonna be very upset. I just took 13 of them out of it. AirballMTG cost 8. We'll cast that. Then we'll cast for 4. Ruxa. When it enters, I can return something with no abilities from my graveyard to my hand, or when it attacks, but I played this in the command zone. It was not in my graveyard. Creatures you control with no abilities get +1/+1, and you may have creatures with no abilities assign combat damage as though they weren't blocked. What I can do is I can sacrifice a forest and a swamp to return Jared to my hand. And then I can play Jared, tap a swamp for a card I would have never thought was going to be the game-winning card, and it is quite entertaining. Supernatural Stamina. This, until end of turn, the target creature gets +2/+0 and gains whenever this creature dies, returns to the battlefield under your control tapped. But the +2/+0 pump is gonna be the difference maker, because we can now sack our 20 power creature to deal exactly 20 to you. Because I think what's funny about this is a funny interaction here is this does no ability. So this currently gets the pump. This gives it an ability, meaning it loses this pump, but the 2 is enough to put it to the point of lethal.
Emrakul. All right.
Well, it's what makes that card playable, because it would not be a playable commander card without that
Zbexx. On that last Elspeth activation, I could have chosen to put 2 counters on my soldier instead of on Vorinclex. That extra life might have won me the game, but I was worried about tricks, and we love trample.
Moxfield is the best deck list site available. It has everything you need to customize, compare, and collaborate. View and brew the way that works for you. Moxfield is the only way that we can track and share all of our spiciest builds here on the show, and whatever Veggie is playing. Make sure to follow our Moxfield profile in the link in the description.
We're filming the TikTok later that was stuck in my head last night. By the way, you're doing it too.
Oh, okay.
So are
I
you.
guess.
So are you.
Just not you.
Yeah, Airball. Airball doesn't want to be in it.
Literally pointed to everybody but Airball.
Airball doesn't want to be in it. I already know.
I'm already playing Commander. Like, TikTok's a bridge too far.
But she has shown me the merit in Urborg strange ways. And then Yargo replies with Ribbit. This whole game was silly, over-the-top fun. It's what I love about Magic the Gathering. Loved it so much. Glad I got to win. Don't even care about that. If I had lost this game, it still would have been a 10 out of 10 game.
Ultimate Guard is the industry leader in MTG accessories. We love their stuff, and we know you will too. Make sure to use the link in the description so they know we sent you.
He's playing creatures, feels dirty.
It does feel dirty.
So naughty.
Guys, Githdrag is the death touch part of it.
Yeah, she just leads with him.
Well, she pokes him with a stick and then he licks it.
Oh, okay. Is that in the fanfic? That was a game where everyone did big things and the result was decided by small margins. What if I don't shock in that Hollowed Fountain a turn early? Maybe I live through Yargle and Multani getting flung at my face. What if I hold back Wildfire Awakener for another turn and don't look like so big a threat? I'm gonna be thinking about this one for a while.
Coolstuffinc is the best place to pick up anything from sealed product to singles. Make sure to use our brand new code MNG5 for 5% off your order.
Meow. Meow.
I'm a human.
Take your babies to work day. Big Gitrog is just eating people right now.
Yeah, that's how I got on the show.
Is everyone aware that on the back of that card is the magic back that's on every card?
Even though I didn't get a chance to play the commander, I felt like my deck did exactly what Jeru and Hazoret wanted to do, full of big bombs and haymakers, some of my favorite cards. I absolutely love this deck. And if you would like to support us more directly, you can head on over to our Patreon and unlock exclusive perks like signed tokens from our guests and cast, monthly spell table games with us, and even submit your own deck list like Baker did for us to play here on the show.
And remember, if you liked the video, hit like. And if you really liked it, hit subscribe. And even do all the other YouTube things so that you know the next time we release an episode of
Decked Out.